So in order to talk about the events of July 20th, 2026, this is a direct follow-up to my previous video titled Chrysostom. Go check it out. So this is a little more behind the scenes, the Last Supper. So I already talked about how, I went ape shit over this girl. It's done and over with in the past. She's in the past. I'll never hear from her again. I'll probably never see her again. So I have to talk about my friends there, at least. Jade, Pedro, I think Aaron, some other people. This video is titled The Last Supper because I truly have to give them a shout out in a way. They help kind of contribute, to, you go to work to get paid. At the end of the day, it's all business, nothing personal, right? So you think. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, when you go to school just you don't go to school just to make friends, right? You go to school to learn. You could make that same argument. Like, you go to school to learn, not to make friends, just to get your education. That way you can better yourself in life later on in life, It's the same thing at work. It doesn't have to be this way, dog. You can actually have friends. I know some people are cutthroat, but there's good people out there. You just have to have that gut feeling and instinct. If someone's asking too much of you of something you're not comfortable with, of course, your gut's going to tell you. Don't follow up with them. Don't mess with them. There's good people out there. There's good out there in the world. And these people, shout out to Jade, Aaron, and Pedro. I titled this The Last Supper and Justin too. It's just, I feel like I needed to clear things up. I mean, no one will probably ever watch this video, but this is like an online diary for me. So, like, whatever happens with this video, it literally follows up to what happened on July 20th, literally 2 days ago for me. So I knew it was going to be my last day because, I knew it was going to be uncomfortable between me and Chrysostom, the previous girl. I knew that was going to be my last day. I actually went in that day at work knowing that was going to be my last day because of how things got, like, uncomfortable-wise, and, how awkward things were going to be. I couldn't live with that. It was my fault at the end of the day because I knew off the rip she wanted no part in a relationship at all. But I tried to push it. I thought I was a main character. Like, I can do this. But I thought I could maybe win her over if I was a little bit more persistent. I wasn't being like, I was just trying to say hi all the time and trying to start conversation. And it didn't work. She didn't want that. I was a little pushy and, I guess, obsessed in a way because I actually liked the girl. I'm not going to lie to you. But, obviously that's done and over with in the past. So we got to talk about that last day. I mentioned the previous video, me and Chrysostom walked past 15 times. Awkward as hell, didn't say a word. So I knew off the rip that was going to be my last day. And I knew things weren't going to lead to nowhere. It was going to be complete awkwardness. I can't work in an environment where I don't feel comfortable. Like, it's not even the job that was hard. It was just like, if she's going to be there and we're working, it's going to be so awkward. And maybe, who knows, maybe we would have eventually made up. I don't know. And we'll never live to find out, because that's done and over with in the past. But I feel like it was best to do that. And with Jade, Justin, and Aaron, we went out to an IHOP right after work. And keep in mind, I already knew that was going to be my last day. But I was almost, like, close to going home, bro. I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to slime these guys out and just go home and never talk with them again, which I technically kind of did. But I was like, they're like, let's go to IHOP. So, okay, bet. So I go up there, and as I'm talking to my friend Jade, she was the girl I mentioned in the previous video who kind of, like, put me in a group chat with Chrysostom to begin with. She was kind of, she was secretly a wingman, and she didn't even know it. So I talked to Jade. I was like, hey, if it's over with a girl, but you didn't get an answer, is that right? Like, I didn't get any type of answer back. Like, I just wanted to know what I could have done to improve myself, and how less annoying I can try to make myself be, right? She doesn't owe you that. She doesn't have to. Okay, so why didn't you block me? That's what I told her back. She didn't block me. She was just reading them. Okay, if I would have known she would have blocked me out the I would have known to completely stop. But it's the fact that she kept feeding on to this. She kept reading them. I just wanted an answer. And I swear I would have, like, stopped. Like, I would have been like, okay, I got my answer. Leave the girl alone. And she was like, she's not obligated to tell you. It's a two-way street. One, she could easily block me or been straight up like, I don't want nothing to do with you. Or two, She could have told me what was wrong and how I could have fixed things. Obviously, that would have probably led to me trying to work things out with her. But it's weird. It's stupid. It's childish. So I agree with that. And ever since I got that answer, you know what? You're right. She's not obligated to tell me nothing. She doesn't have to. It's not, a sin if she didn't tell me why she didn't want nothing to do with me anymore. Or, obviously I knew it was because I was trying my hardest to be with her. And, that right there told me that day, I learned a very valuable lesson to stop rushing into things. Even when that is ultimately going to lead to July 20th events, give the girls their time and space, especially if you like someone new. I knew right there I was never going to like her again with Chrysanthemum, but it was like, okay, that told me to be patient, to not be annoying, not to ask like relationship questions. Even with the girls I like nowadays, I never once brought up, hey, do you have a boyfriend? Because they're going to obviously know you're going to try to hit on them, right? So it's more of a strategical thing where you have to be careful on what you say. So I learned a very valuable lesson that day. That's why that day was very important to me. And I'll never forget. I already knew it was on my last day. We went out and had IHOP or whatever the hell. I called that the Last Supper because they didn't know I was going to quit. I'll never forget. I said, usually I say goodnight to them, but I was like, goodbye. Goodbye, Jade. Goodbye, Aaron. Goodbye, Justin. And then they didn't question it. They didn't ask, why are you saying goodbye instead of goodnight? And ever since then, I went home. I never saw them again. Never heard from them. Never saw from them. It was me running away, what I do best. But I learned a valuable lesson. I had to leave all that behind me because I wanted to come back, a rebirth of me. That completely humbled me and that changed me. Shout out to Chrysanthemum for, even though she humiliated me, I needed that. If it wasn't for the humiliation, I would not be the kind, sweet man I am today. I swear it's all thanks to her. I would have been more disrespectful, more pushy on topics, more stupider, more, a lot of these terrible things. And that completely did a complete reset on my mind and how I approach things now in life. I have her to thank. I have Jade to thank for the advice. She's not obligated to tell me none. Stop being stupid, weird, and all that stuff. So I have them to thank. Although I'll never hear or see from them again, they have my thanks. And now, that was truly the Last Supper.